John Cooper, the SES coordinator of the Grampians Rescue, is on the line. We've got the news through that 2 German tourists had fallen off a cliff at North Grampians Road yesterday afternoon. Thankfully, they are both still alive. John, hello.
Good morning, Justin. Good morning, Tom.
John, can you clear up something for us straight away? The early reports were that they were 2 German tourists, and then we were told they were 2 Japanese tourists.
I didn't see the lady, but the gentleman I was looking at certainly wasn't Japanese.
He wasn't Japanese.
Correct.
So by process of elimination, we'll assume they're German. Tommy, what road did they drive off, and how far did they fall?
It was on the Halls Gap to Zumstein's road, some 40-odd kilometres from Halls Gap. It's quite a windy road. They were only about 4 kilometres from the Zumstein's camping area, a little tourist area on the west side of the Grampians.
And the fall, I heard it was up to 150 metres.
No. Very difficult to estimate, Tom, but our people, the ropes that we were using 100-metre ropes, and we didn't quite need the 100 metres, so we were estimating probably around about the 75 to 80 metres. Understand, not a cliff, a road edge, fairly steep nonetheless, but very heavily treed and very heavily scrubbed.
And John, tell us about the rescue. How tough was it to get them out, and how concerned were you about their welfare? Were you pretty confident that you would be able to get them out?
Oh, certainly. The difficulty, I suppose, the gentleman apparently got himself out, and he raised the alarm. That naturally was well before we got there. The lady, by some minor injuries and also some damage to the carriage, you'd understand it must have been a fairly bumpy trip down that edge. She wasn't able to get out of the vehicle. Our initial concerns when the crews arrived was stabilising the vehicle, and that was done with some chains around some chassis parts and some trees. Bearing in mind it wasn't quite at the bottom of this edge, but not that far. And once that was done, it was then a matter of getting her out, and that was relatively easy to do. The next major issue was to rig a safe system, because bear in mind this edge, you could walk up and down it or crawl up and down it. It certainly wasn't vertical by any stretch of the imagination, but it was still quite steep. You'd be looking at less than 45 degrees, but not a lot less. And it was a matter then of making a hauling system safe, and then loading the lady into the stretcher with our SES volunteers and the paramedics on site, and then hauling it up, which takes quite a while.
John, thank you so much. John Hooper, SES coordinator in that rescue. To get some more details on the injuries, Anthony Jewitts from the Air Ambulance Victoria is on the line. Hi, Anthony.
Hi, good morning, Justin and Tom.
Anthony, so John says the man was German. Can you give us any idea of the lady? Was she German or Japanese?
The young lady was definitely Japanese.
We're solving the problem now.
There's the problem then, a German and a Japanese. Now, she suffered minor injuries, but nothing too bad?
Look, the young lady was extremely lucky. As has already been described, the incident was quite significant, and certainly around about the 70-metre mark for her vehicle to be rolling that distance, and probably, we think, has probably gone over nose to tail, and she ended up with some relatively minor head injuries. We certainly treated her for the significant potential of spinal injuries, and we provided her some intravenous pain relief, some treatment for nausea, and some fluid for some hydration. She'd been there a long time, hadn't eaten since or drunk since about 11 o'clock that morning, so some intravenous fluid was required to keep her well hydrated. And we used the specialist spine board and vacuum mattress to look after her spine in this particular situation. And she was in relatively good spirits. She did have a history of claustrophobia, so being wrapped up in a vacuum mattress and being trussed up in a specialist stretcher to get her out of the area was quite emotional for her, and we did need to settle her down from that side of things. And she'd just like to pass on her thanks to all the emergency services involved, and which was really good. She did have some good spirits later on, and she was a bit distressed down at the scene, as you could imagine. And look, she was trying to tell us that she wanted to walk out.
Good Lord. Anthony, thank you so much. We're glad they're all right. Anthony Jewitts from the Air Ambulance Victoria.